Hello, it's a lovely good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. No electricity tariff increase in January, reveals MWEETWA. Operation Young Vote OK's cause to reduce the defamation of the president law to a civil offense. President Hakainde Hichilema arrives home from the United States Africa Summit with renewed hope of reviving the economy. In international news, France and Morocco resume diplomatic cooperation. And in sports news, Moroccans proud despite loss to Croatia in the semi-finals as final takes off between France and Argentina.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is inviting all skillfully gifted, talented and creative soccer players from across Zambia. Ages between 16 and 20 must come, train and join the club. The category of these gifted footballers have the chance to go and market their talent in Europe and USA through Camnet Stars Football Club, a team formed with a vision to produce quality international players. Please do not miss this brief open opportunity given to you. Camnet Stars Football Club could be your gateway to your international soccer career. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Date 12th December 2022 to 21st January 2023. Time 09 hours to 11 hours. Your time to shine is now.
Hello, another news in detail. A clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, has advised against illicit activities such as alcohol abuse during the festive season, stating that holidays should be used productively. In an interview, Bishop Mambo has urged other clergymen to reinforce this message to their congregants, stating that it is important in reducing road traffic accidents during this period, as well as reducing the spread of sexually transmitted infections such as HIV and AIDS, as well as unwanted pregnancies. Meanwhile, the clergyman has urged the church to speak with one voice come 2023 to offer impartial checks and balances to the government of the day for the purpose of development. More in this report.
With Christmas and New Year holidays being only a few days away, Zambian citizens, like many others around the world, are in a celebratory mood. The festive season, however, apart from being known as a period of celebration, is also known for a high number of road traffic accidents, mainly caused by drunk driving and overspeeding, as people celebrate. This period is also known for a high number of activities such as drug and alcohol abuse, as well as illicit sexual activities. A clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, therefore says the church in Zambia has a huge role to play to change this narrative, if to prevent the loss of lives through road traffic accidents, reduce unwanted pregnancies, as well as the spread of sexually transmitted infections. He was speaking to Camnet News.
What we see here is that we buy a lot of alcohol, including us Christians. We are guilty because when they come, my family members will come with crates or whatever and so on. I will never utter a word that I'm killing you. Immediately we finish, you know, the family gathering, going home, you lose one and all that. It's not helping. And then alcohol, I must confess, you know, I'm struggling with my namesake, the boy that I named after me. And it's not good to say because you're a Christian doesn't happen to you.
Bishop Mambo has further given a message for 2023 stating that the church should speak with one voice to stop all injustice in the country in both the social and political sectors.
Meditate upon what would happen once this government is gone. Again, the others must always line up in the hands of anti-corruption. That's not good. It's important that we teach Zambians, we gave this country to God, so let's go by the covenant that we have. It's a contract with God that will govern to the best of his ability, love and care. Let me end by saying, if we follow the declaration of Zambia being a Christian nation, would be the best country to live under the sun. Reason being, the Bible is very clear. If my people who are called by my name, they will humble themselves, we kneel down, cry out to him.
The clergyman has further called on Zambians both at individual level and at national level to use the month of December to reflect on their actions, as this is the month in which the country was declared as a Christian nation in 1991. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Lusaka residents have challenged the United Party for National Development, UPND, to fulfill its promise of lowering the cost of living and bettering the lives of the Zambian people, as was their campaign promise prior to the August 2021 general election. Speaking to Camnet News, the residents say life is still hard more than 1 year of the UPND in office, stating that they have seen no improvement in their well-being. Some of those spoken to explained that to date, they still hand to mouth as the price of commodities are still beyond the reach of many ordinary citizens. More in this report.
Many citizens in developing countries cannot afford to buy a bag of mealie meal or a bottle of cooking oil, but opt to buy these commodities in small measures day by day, as over 50% of the population live below the poverty line, according to statistics from the United Nations. Improving the living standards of ordinary Zambians is therefore one of the major promises of any political party vying for office, and was the same message carried out by the United Party for National Development, UPND, which is now in office. As the year 2022 comes to an end, some Lusaka residents have given their thought on the living standards in Zambia more than 1 year after the UPND ascended to office. Some citizens spoken to feel that their lives have barely improved. Others have challenged the current administration to ensure that their promises are quickly actualized. They say they are expectant for 2023, hoping that the situation will improve. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A financial analyst, Mwape Musonda, has predicted that the Zambian kwacha may further depreciate in 2023 due to the introduction of load management in the country, which is likely to slow down economic activities. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Musonda has therefore urged the current administration to quickly brainstorm on alternative measures of electricity to prevent this from happening. The financial analyst also predicts that the loss of electricity for 6 hours in a day will further enhance poverty levels in the country. He adds that if the status quo remains the same, Zambia may even miss its 2030 target of becoming a prosperous middle-income country.
Especially with the coming of the load shedding, we can immediately predict that the kwacha will again perform badly because of the load shedding that is in place. So my plea is that let the hours of load shedding be reduced to even about 3 hours per day, because we all know it's a fact that the productive number of hours in this country are about 8 hours. Any employee who reports for work works for 8 hours, majority of the employees in the country. So if people are going to report for work and then 8 hours, 6 hours is taken away from them because there is no power, then it means that the economy won't perform. So we urge the powers that be that please reduce the hours of load shedding, because this is going to highly impact on the kwacha to lose value against the dollar and the other convertible currencies, and which is going to result in negative economic growth. We don't want to go back to the days of where we had negative economic growth. We have seen that things are a bit stable, and we just urge the powers that be that let's control the issue of load shedding. Let's control also the issue of prices of fuel. If we control the energy sector, the economy performs well. It means that the kwacha is going to gain value, and generally our economic performance.
United Party for National Development, UPND party spokesperson Cornelius MWEETWA says no tariff adjustment will be made by the Energy Regulation Board in January 2022 and 2023 until all recommendations and the study on the cost of service for ZESCO are done. Addressing the press Sunday, Mr. MWEETWA notes that ZESCO has no mandate to effect any tariff adjustments, which means but recommend to ARB for approval. He says the power utility company is still studying the report, hence rendering talks about increasing electricity in January baseless, adding that ZESCO and government in general are not idling but working round the clock to find a solution. Mr. MWEETWA has since advised the public to read the report and not be misled by those opposing government. More in this report.
The overall electrification rate in Zambia stands at less than 25%, with urban areas having the higher rate than rural areas, according to a study by the Policy Monitoring and Research Center in 2018, which still stands today, revealed that Zambia's electricity demand would triple by the year 2030 due to increased population. This demand inevitably means that government requires private sector investment into the energy sector to meet the rising demand in the country. These challenges have been identified by successful administrations and stakeholders through different studies, like the recent cost of service study conducted on ZESCO, which has highlighted ZESCO's status and its inability to meet the power demand, as well as the need to have private sector players in the energy sector. The study released recently has raised debate on whether the Energy Regulation Board will increase the tariffs or not. United Party for National Development party spokesperson Cornelius MWEETWA says no immediate tariff increase will be effected as circulated in January 2022 until the necessary steps are taken. Mr. MWEETWA was speaking in Lusaka Sunday.
January 2023, there is no anticipated increase or immediate increase or hike in ZESCO electricity tariffs. What is going to happen is that as a result of the cost of service study report being released in January 2023, it is expected that ZESCO, after review and consideration of recommendations contained in that report, will make an application to the Energy Regulation Board for a possible tariff adjustment, which will be reviewed and determined by the Energy Regulation Board and not by ZESCO. ZESCO simply makes a proposal for tariff adjustment.
Meanwhile, Mr. MWEETWA also took time to comment on the shortage of drugs in health facilities. He says government has made strides in dealing with the matter, with at least 65% of the drugs being available in health facilities.
As members of parliament were debating on Friday, they were debating statistics of March and not statistics of December 2022. I have had the privilege and occasion to be reliably briefed by the Ministry of Health that the current state of stock levels of medicines in our health facilities has since improved to not less than 65%. They have recently carried out a survey which shows that the stock levels of medicines is hovering between 65–75%, in some instances 80 to 90%, with the national average being at 75% as of this morning when I was being briefed ahead of this briefing.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda says the willingness by President Hakainde Hichilema for the defamation of the President law to be decriminalized and reduced to a civil offense will help in enhancing Zambia's democracy. In an interview, Mr. Nyirenda explains that reducing this law to a civil case will also enhance the delivery of justice, noting that people will be subjected to simple punishments such as fines, unlike being subjected to lengthy court procedures. He notes that this will also promote the freedom of expression in the country, as citizens and political players will be free to express themselves without fearing criminal litigation. President Hakainde Hichilema has been noting the need for retrogressive laws such as the defamation of the President law to be reformed if to enhance Zambia's democracy. More in this report.
Democratic tenets such as the freedom of speech and expression have always been in conflict with certain laws in Zambia, among them the defamation of the President law. A number of politicians, both in recent times and over the past few years, have been summoned to answer charges pertaining to the defamation of the President, an offense which currently holds a criminal charge in the country. Stakeholders in the political circles have seen this as retrogressive to democracy, with some arguing that this law has been used to intimidate political opponents. As Zambia is reforming laws that have been seen as contradictory to democracy, some stakeholders have applauded the recent declaration by President Hakainde Hichilema that the criminal defamation of the President law is retrogressive to democracy and should be relooked. The head of state recently made these declarations during the 2022 Judiciary Conference. In an interview, Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has added his voice on the development, stating that dropping this law to a civil offense will greatly enhance democracy.
So, of course, if one insulted me or any other person, I would get them for a civil case, and when they are found wanting, or if they are found wanting, then they are able to compensate me because of what they will have done. In the same vein, this is what it means. Then it will go for a civil litigation, and those that will be found wanting will be able to pay fines or compensation, so that at the end of the day we do not criminalize this aspect and totally obscure people from expressing themselves, but the expression should be there.
Meanwhile, Republican Progressive Party RPP acting President Kesha Sakapelwa feels that stakeholders should be widely consulted on the matter.
I think that would not be, we should find a mechanism and make amendments to this piece of legislation so that many people are educated, many people then would understand that the office of the President should be respected, and it's not a manner that which anybody can stand on any platform and insult the office of the President. I think these are the gist of information that should be broadcasted.
Zambia is one of the few African democratic countries that are currently aiming at reaching universally accepted standards of what a democratic country should look like. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
12 prohibited immigrants believed to be from Pakistan have been apprehended in Lusaka by the Zambia police after a tip-off from sources whose identity has been withheld. In a statement to Camnet News, Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says this occurred on Saturday, 17th December 2022. Mr. Mwale further reveals that the illegal immigrants were being hosted at a named lodge in Lusaka's Kabangwe area.
Police in Lusaka intercepted a Toyota Alphard, registration number AIC 4225, carrying 12 prohibited immigrants believed to be from Pakistan. Brief facts are that on December 17, 2022, at around 22:30 hours, police received information that there were suspected prohibited immigrants at a named lodge around Kabangwe area in Lusaka. Acting on the information, officers managed to intercept the said motor vehicle as it attempted to leave. Investigations have been instituted in conjunction with the Department of Immigration.
President Hakainde Hichilema has arrived back from a working visit to the United States of America, where he was attending a high-level multilateral U.S.-Africa summit with several fellow heads of state and government on one hand, and the United States government led by President Joe Biden on the other. President Hichilema, in a Facebook post, said while in the USA, sideline meetings were held where bilateral discussions with other heads of state and government also took part in several meetings with African captains of industry and investors that are willing to explore business opportunities in the country, some of whom have committed investments of $150 million United States dollars into the mining sector. Mr. Hichilema says government is determined to steer the country away from poverty caused by years of mismanagement, endemic corruption, theft of public resources, and reckless borrowing. He further says government's resolve to see change will not be distracted or diminished until the objectives attained to, among other things, improve the livelihoods of all the Zambian people. You're watching Camnet Television News. We take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
To serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
A falcon, known for flying high speeds, unmistakably grace and flying incredible long distances. Falcon Express is equal to the task with your deliveries. Friendly and reliable, a company that cares for you, local and international coverage, a company that empowers its customers on time, every time, all the time. Nationwide delivery.
Send your parcel through Falcon Express to Mongu, Kabwe, Ndola, Kapiri, Kitwe, Chingola, Chipata, Livingstone, Mazabuka, Kasama, Solwezi, Kalumbila, Chililabombwe, Luansha, Kalulushi. Get in touch with us on +260 971 130 766 and drop your parcels at Falcon Express. Falcon Express. Your parcels are safe with us.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back. We continue with our news. Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says government is keen on making sure that families are united through policies that support the institution of marriage. Speaking when he graced a wedding ceremony in Mumba district Saturday evening, Mr. Nanjua notes that the United Party for National Development Administration and the President Hakainde Hichilema have noted that good marriages have a great effect on development, hence directing all those couples living separately due to work to be united. And Mr. Nanjua, who is also a Mumba Central Member of Parliament, says gender-based violence is also a matter of concern, mainly rising from marriages. He urged the newly wedded couple to ensure that they stay in peace and be an example in the country. More in this report.
They say families are nations, as it is a well-known fact that strong bonds are a catalyst to development both at individual and national level. Speaking at a wedding ceremony in Mumba district, Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says in line with the United Party for National Development's policy of uniting the nation, marriage as an institution ordained by God helps in fostering household and national unity. Mr. Nanjua noted that a loving and united family is a good example of God's plan, urging the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Likezo, to be an example of love, peace and unity.
That His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, when he took up office, he mentioned something about marriage. We inherited a system where married couples were separated due to national duties. The wife is working in Chipata, the husband is working in Mongu, and His Excellency said this is not right. And this is what we think as Newton government, as cabinet, as a political party, what His Excellency said. Two people married, they need to be together. Those gaps Let us not create gaps. The gaps that we create will give room for something else to replace. As government, we want to promote the marriage institution in the country because we believe that once homes or marriages are strong, we are going to produce strong leaders for this country.
And Mr. Nanjua noted the rate at which gender-based violence cases are being recorded, adding that with understanding it can be eliminated.
Reporting instances of gender-based violence in the country and also in our province, Central Province, and also in our district, Mumbwa district, and in my constituency. GBV is still taking place. We need to fight this. Why should we be having such when we have got the clergy in our midst? We have got our chiefs in our midst. We have got the councillors and we have got the MPs.
Meanwhile, Mumbwa Pastors Fellowship representative Bishop Mubambe encouraged the two to stay united and loving.
The problem is maybe families. You find that a couple, maybe a spouse, is too attached to the family. But the Bible says when you get married, you leave your family. You begin a new life with your spouse so that you build a new family, especially in the godly way. So marriages of today, they have a lot of problems in the sense that they have different views the way they look at marriages.
Recognize that when marriage is not in a good standing, it also affects the children and dependents that are in that home. They are psychologically affected with what goes on in the home, and that affection also is carried out to schools, and you find that children cannot concentrate in school, and they tend to be slow learners because of what is happening in the marriage.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati has emphasized on the need to create strong family bonds as it is a step towards unity not only at national level but also at household level. Speaking during the Marriage Encounter Zambia dinner hosted by the Catholic Church Saturday evening, Mr. Mutati notes that couples that respect each other also make good leaders as they value unity. Meanwhile, the Catholic Church has also awarded some couples from the church who have been in marriage for an exemplary period of time as one way of motivating young couples. They hope that this recognition will help in reducing divorce rates in the country. 2021 data from the local court indicates that Zambia recorded 23,543 divorce cases last year. Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, in partnership with the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, has allocated more than 7 million kwacha emergency cash transfer to Rufunsa district in Lusaka province. The funds will benefit vulnerable households under the social cash transfer scheme that were affected by drought in the 2021-2022 farming season. Lusaka Province DMMU Regional Coordinator Kangachepe Zulu disclosed to Zanis yesterday that the emergency cash transfer is targeting about 3,500 households that are on social cash transfer and 1,575 households that have been enumerated to be on the social cash transfer in Rufunsa district. Mr. Zulu said according to the in-depth vulnerability needs assessment conducted in 2021-2022, it was found that most districts were affected by shocks such as the dry spell and the drought. The vertical caseload is targeting those that are already on the social cash transfer program, while the horizontal caseload is targeting those that are being enumerated. The Lusaka Province Regional DMMU coordinator said in the vertical caseload, the beneficiaries who are on social cash transfer will receive a top-up of 200 kwacha, while those that are being enumerated will receive 400 kwacha for the months of October 2022 to March 2023. And Rufunsa District Commissioner Richard Mabena has commended government for what he describes as a timely gesture, as most households were affected by drought in the last farming season.
Government, in its continued effort to help the most vulnerable households, has complemented households that received social cash transfer with emergency cash transfer to help them in this farming season. The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, in partnership with the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, is in the Rufunsa district to explain the purpose of the program.
So our purpose here is to coordinate the enumeration and supervise its undertaking in the district. So basically there are two areas that we are using to disperse these resources. The first is the caseload for beneficiary households that are already on the social cash transfer program. And I believe for Rufunsa we are at about 3,500 households that are receiving social cash transfer. So that is the first caseload that will receive the emergency cash transfer.
Rufunsa District Commissioner Richard Mabena is happy with the timely gesture by the government.
So much because you are here, you know that
Rufunsa District has more than 3,000 households that are on social cash transfer, and this time they want to scale up by more than 1,000 households. Reporting in Rufunsa District, I am ZECHARIAH.
You're watching Camnet Television News. We'll take a second and final break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
You know I can take her a break.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You read me?
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
A falcon, known for flying high speeds, unmistakably grace and flying incredible long distances. Falcon Express is equal to the task with your deliveries. Friendly and reliable, a company that cares for you, local and international coverage, company that empowers its customers on time, every time, all the time. Nationwide delivery.
Send your parcel through Falcon Express to Mongu, Kabwe, Ndola, Kapiri, Kitwe, Chingola, Chipata, Livingstone, Mazaboka, Kasama, Solwezi, Kalumbila, Chililabombwe, Luansha, Kalulushi. Get in touch with us on +260 971 130 766 and drop your parcels at Falcon Express. Falcon Express. Your parcels are safe with us.
Welcome back. And now in international news, France and Morocco announced on Friday the re-establishment of full diplomatic relations following months of tensions over visas. The row was sparked in September last year when France halved its visa quota for Moroccans in retaliation for the kingdom's refusal to repatriate citizens living as irregular migrants in France. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna said they are determined to go further and to write a new page together in which Morocco and France count on each other as they need each other. Here's more in international news.
France and Morocco announced on Friday the re-establishment of full diplomatic relations following months of tensions over visas. The row was sparked in September last year when France halved its visa quota for Moroccans. We are determined to go further and to write a new page together in which Morocco and France count on each other as they need each other. We know that this is good for our economic relations, for our security, for promoting our values, and also for meeting the expectations of our citizens, our youth, our two countries. Today, the decision to resume is once again a unilateral decision, which Morocco once again respects and will not comment on officially. But this is the normal thing in the relationship, and the Minister had underlined the importance of this human dimension, which is crucial for our relations. So it was a unilateral decision at the beginning, and once again this is a unilateral decision that goes in the right direction, and that's good. During the visit, the French foreign minister took the opportunity to announce that President Macron would be visiting the North African kingdom early in 2023.
East Africa's largest economy, Kenya is an African powerhouse and home to a $1 billion tech scene. But with 75% of the population under 35, it's also facing high youth unemployment, soaring living costs, and a widening gap between rich and poor. I'm Iman Amrani, and I've come to Kenya to meet two activists from the country's capital, Nairobi. From fighting for social justice to combating police violence, they both want to empower their communities and make them safer. Welcome to Generation Change, a global series that attempts to understand and challenge the ideas that mobilize youth around the world. So it's Sunday, and we're going to hear the churches, and we're in Dandora, which is where you're from, right, Dash? And this is an informal settlement, but it's also the country's largest landfill site. What was it like for you growing up here?
So one of the challenges is getting an access to good quality education. So initially my mother didn't have a good job, so you find out that it's not enough for us to pay rent and food and education as well. My mother got sick because she was engaged in drug abuse because of stress and all that. So initially ended up dying and they left us. So when I was left, they didn't know anybody.
So how old were you when your mother passed away?
I was 15.
And what happened then?
So I ended up going at the dump site. Like it's a community, it's a place where welcomes anybody who doesn't have a place to go. I was scavenging, we were collecting trash so that I can get something to eat.
Now you're a rapper, and that's what you're known for. What was the transition like from, being on the dump site and working there to being an artist and doing what you do now?
So when I was at the dump site, I was a street rapper. So even people were calling me, Dash, can you come please rap for us? Then they gave me a certain type of food. So a known artist, Juliani, at that time he was very popular, was going around Dandora visiting the places. And people tell them, we need to find this rapper, this rapper.
We need to find Dash.
You need to find Dash.
Okay.
So they came there, they found me, and the transition was that Juliani came up with a project for Dandora Hip Hop City. And that's where the transition from me to the dump site started getting out, because now I have a space.
How did working on the dump site politicize you?
Whenever you're at the dump site, you feel like you are hopeless, you are in a dark place where people don't appreciate you, you don't have a voice, nobody cares about who you are. So initially for me, it was like I'm in a world where I'm facing a lot of social vices. Whenever I'm sick, nobody cares. If I have a good song, nobody cares. There's nobody to share what I have. I was performing to the birds. Very early in the morning, you find them are just there. So I was seeing them as the real audience.
Maisha yangu fast ilianza ka joke, si rahisi kuzaliwa country iko so broke.
I wanted to talk to you about your lyrics. You've done quite a few songs about extrajudicial killings and the police killing people who live here.
I lost 3 friends when I was at the dam site because of extrajudicial killing. They were beaten after they stole a phone. I was so mad, I was angry. So that's where I started becoming more into social issues.
Sina anything, natumia voice yangu yote, na wale wanadai ati wanakuhelp, wanaacha udai ndio jibambe na hiyo wealth.
It's now time for sports news. In our sports news tonight, Moroccan supporters celebrated on Saturday despite losing to Croatia 2-1 in the fight for 3rd place in the World Cup. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar marks a moment in the history of football as Morocco became the first African semi-finalist in the World Cup history. Before Qatar, the Atlas Lions had never gone beyond the last 16 stage. Many Moroccans are optimistic about the future. Reacting to the loss, Morocco coach Walid Regragui said there was a lot for his team to proudly reflect on. Meanwhile, Argentina have been crowned the 2022 World Cup champions. Argentina beat France 4-2 on penalty kicks after a thrilling 3-0 draw, which saw Lionel Messi score twice and Kylian Mbappe score a hat-trick. Meanwhile, Mbappe walks away with the Golden Boot after netting 9 goals, 1 above Messi, who scored 8 goals in the tournament.
Moroccan supporters celebrated on Saturday, despite losing to Croatia 2-1 in the fight for 3rd place in the World Cup. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar marks a moment in the history of football, as Morocco became the first African semi-finalists in World Cup history. We didn't imagine all this. They went to the semi-final and they should have been in the final, but no luck. Long live the king and Morocco. Before Qatar, the Atlas Lions had never gone beyond the last 16 stage. Many Moroccans are optimistic about the future. The squad was up to scratch. They fought until the end, but luck was not on our side. But no problem. Next World Cup, we will win the cup, and long live Morocco. Reacting to the loss, Morocco coach Walid Regragui said there was a lot for his team to proudly reflect on.
That football note brings us to the end of our news tonight. Before we go, the headlines once again. No electricity tariff increase in January reveals MWEETWA. Operation Young Vote okays calls to reduce the defamation of the president law to a civil offense. President Hakainde Hichilema arrives home from the US-Africa Summit with renewed hope of reviving the economy. In international news, France and Morocco resume diplomatic cooperation. And in sports news, Argentina crowned 2022 world champions. Our Camnet Day voice of the day is coming from Luke 1, verse 68 to 70. Praise be to the Lord God of Israel, said ZECHARIAH, because he has come and has redeemed his people. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he said through his holy prophets long ago. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Siambo. Good night.